Do I need the mic? Okay. Well, it is hot in here. I apologize. I'm sort of like a good pair of right in advance. Thank you, everyone, for coming. If you were here for the previous meeting and just stayed, we appreciate that too. We hope you'll come back. I want to commend the West Side of Salt Lake City for showing up tonight, and also our elected officials, Senator Escamilla, Representative Hollins, Victoria. She's in the hall. Okay, Victoria's in the hall. Anyway, thank you for all being here and putting that together and giving us an opportunity. We hope to have many more opportunities to express our feelings about the homeless shelter, and appreciate your engagement. So, if you'll join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so just real, I'm gonna get some of this stuff real quick, because we've still got some really important things to discuss tonight. As a community council, we hold executive leadership, and Jason, keep me honest, I'm doing this wrong. Leadership elections in August. We held those last week, and we have elected Corky Reason Chair. I'm staying in as vice chair, so I don't want to throw this mess at Corky all at once. Fred Guyman is vice chair. Catherine Torres is our secretary. And then Senior Jardine is our treasurer. And we would just ask that the community sustain that decision. Just have a raise of hands for anyone who can support us in that. Sounds like a church meeting. Any opposed? Okay, thank you so much for your support. So now Corky gets this. Corky, you want to tell me your phone number?
My home number is, it does not receive text.
And that doesn't mean I'm not going to still be very involved, but Corky's steering the ship. So let's ask Josh Royal from the city to come up. This is Zoom. Maybe
That's it. I was going to, because I can go without it. Hello, everyone. My name is Josh Arboyo. I'm the community liaison in the mayor's office on the community outreach team for District 1 and District 5. I'm here just to provide some updates from the administration. I know we had a lot of people here talking from the state. And so on questions related to the matter of the state campus announcement today, I'm happy to take feedback, happy to take that, and then probably at another time, just due to the amount of things we have on the agenda tonight. But make sure that you have my contact information and you can reach out to me to get feedback and ask questions to the mayor's office. So when it comes to just updates from the administration and throughout the city, we do have a few things. One thing is the CIP, which is the community or capital improvement program, is what residents, way for residents to apply to make improvements in the neighborhood. The city council recently approved the CIP projects for the coming year, and the application for new projects is currently open through October 1st. So if you have an idea of improving an asset in the city, such as a park, improving lighting, improving, a public space, please submit your ideas through the CIP program, through November, or through October 1st. And then I'll also add, we have a few vacancies on our boards and commissions. If you're interested in getting involved in the city in a different way, in being involved in some of the decision making and some of the policy making, one of the ways of doing so is being on our boards and commissions. So the Planning Commission, which is a very important one, has an opening right now for District 1. And so if anyone's interested in joining the Planning Commission, please go to the Salt Lake City Boards and Commissions website. Also, the Public Lands Peanut Board, which is the Parks, Natural Lands, Urban Forestry, and Trails Advisory Board, is also looking for residents to join that board and from any district. So, seem maybe. And then, sorry, I moved on. There's a couple events coming up from the city in the neighborhood. Next Saturday on the 13th at Rosewood Park, the Public Lands is putting on the Rosewood Park Community Celebration, 3 to 7 p.m. next Saturday, the 13th. And there's a pickleball tournament involved with that event as well. And so, and then some of you may have noticed out here at the here on 10th North, there's a new mural on the side of the Parasocial Club, and that is actually a mural as part of the Wake the Great Salt Lake project, which is new art installations that were funded from an outside organization. The city got some funding for to do some art installations about the Great Salt Lake. And so on the 10th, which is next Wednesday, 5 to 7 p.m., it's going to be a little community event over there at that mural. And so I wanted to share that information as well. And then lastly, just feel free to reach out to our office and sharing information and feedback about the city app. We encourage everyone to download SLC Mobile to report issues that you see in the city, whether it's pothole, street light, an issue in the parks, an issue of homelessness. Please report those things on the SLC Mobile app that are, of course, non-emergency issues. And feel free to reach out to our office if you need help in getting those requests responded to as well. So that's all, I guess, for my update.
Thanks, Josh.
Share my contact information with everyone, so you can get in contact with me. Can't do that right now.
Okay, we'll invite the fire department to come up. They get a lot of calls during our meetings, so it's nice to have it here.
Yeah, appreciate that.
For us, next few minutes.
Okay, thanks for letting us just take a couple minutes. We had hoped tonight to be able to come and talk just in a little bit more detail regarding House Bill 48, which is a new bill that passed legislation that goes over the Wildland Urban Interface International Fire Code. In talking to the board and your chair, we're going to come back next month and to dive into some much greater detail on that to educate you on what that means for you. But I want to just give you just a quick brief, little bit of a kind of a summary on it, some things you can start doing. Before I do that, though, let me introduce myself. My name is Jared Schreiner. I'm the battalion chief for the west side of the city on our A platoon. Back in the back here's Captain Higgins. He's the company officer of your local fire station and that engine company that responds right there by the fairgrounds. So they spend a lot of time, responding to the needs here in the community. So one thing I just quickly want to point out, if you haven't already, go to slcfire.com. This is our website. There's a lot of great resources on here. One of which I'd like to encourage you to do is to subscribe to our newsletter. If you click on that link, you can put in your name and email information, and monthly you will get that newsletter from the fire department and our community relations division. A lot of great information in there. As well as this website, there's some things in here that are really valuable to go through. One I want to talk about real quick is just preparing for wildland urban interface fires, and that's what this House bill is all about. And it doesn't seem to be responding too well here. Oh, here we go. Okay, so House Bill 48, what it is, legislation that passed that states that the state of Utah has to have and adopt the Wildland Urban Interface Code. Has to go into effect January 1st of 2025, or excuse me, 2026. We're ready to adopt this. The mayor has asked us to work to identify areas of high risk in the city that fall within the what we call the Wildland Urban Interface. These areas that connect to the city that produce a lot of risk due to their vegetation and aspect and slope and different things like that. Initially, we looked at an overlap of the parcels that backed and faced the Jordan River and the Jordan River Parkway. The good news for you folks is as of this morning, we've determined that that's going to be lifted and not part of the mandatory risk assessments and hazard zone areas that are associated with this new code and legislation. So what you'll see in the red are the areas that affects. Like I said, we can come back next month and go into a lot more detail. But what I want you to know is that what we provide for you, some of the things that we're prepared to do to help with the prevention part of this is to provide for you property assessments. So we can come out, you can sign up here on the website, right here where it says request an assessment. You can click on that link, put in your name and information, and then someone from our emergency management department will contact you, and then we will send the fire department, the crews, the stuff out to your home, do a quick assessment of your property, determine areas that you could work to harden, create defensible space, kind of mitigate some of the risks that are associated with your properties, especially those of you that are along the parkway, because those still do bring a little bit of risk. So I'd encourage you to do that because it's a great service and a great program that we're doing to kind of help engage the community and kind of help harden those areas. So anyways, we'll come back next month and go into a little bit more detail on this and talk a little bit more about that code. But does anyone have any questions for me as the fire department or anything else?
This one here, is this changing current risk assessment to the bar area?
Yes and no. So, I mean, there's still risk. Okay, that risk isn't going to go away. That's why we're encouraging everyone to do what they can to harden their properties, to create defensible space. And that's what the great thing about these assessments. We can help you determine what that is in your property.
That's what I'm trying to get at is for a skim out there. And it's got a big portion of what used to be open space in the 80s, right?
Mhm.
Which is now occupied 100% by homes.
Right.
And it looks like it's still always been in a fire area, you know, as if it were empty space.
Sure.
There's fire hydrants everywhere.
Yeah,
You have a freeway in the way.
Yep.
Then you go over into Rose Park area more and further. That's not high.
No,
It's
correct.
no different, but it's still.
Yeah, and that's where this is trying to establish those areas that are a little bit of a higher risk. And for some of you that fall into this, and luckily, I think we've removed this parkway, but some people that fall into this, they're going to be affected by insurance carriers, hikes and drop stuff. So this is going to help protect people from that because we can mitigate those risks, bring those risk levels down, and that's going to be a benefit to you for getting lower insurance rates or preventing being canceled for fire insurance on those types of things. Again, we can go into that in a lot more detail. I don't want to take too much more time. I think we've kind of met that, but anyways, we're glad to be a part of this community and to serve you. And if there's anything that you ever need from the fire department, please don't ever hesitate to reach out and ask us.
Okay, so I want to welcome our neighbors from West Point here tonight as well. Always welcome and appreciate you being here with us. We're going to turn some time over to Senator Escamilla, Chief Red, and he's got crew with him tonight. And I think Victoria was going to be a part of that too.
It's just a little bit earlier, right? I mean, I can't remember. Good evening again. Hi, everyone. My name is Luz Escamilla, and we were in the previous meeting, so thank you for staying and more. We made a special request to the Rose Park Community Council, and in short notice, they allow us to take a portion of your agenda. So thank you for being so gracious. Thank you, Rose Park Community Council. I live, by the way, for disclosure, again, 10th North and Morton Drive. And I see some of my neighbors here and people that I've known for 20 years that I've lived here. But we've seen some increase of some activity that's been very concerning for our neighbors. And we'll go into just a couple of incidents. And I've been reaching directly to my councilwoman, in this case, Councilwoman Petro and Chief Red, that's a good friend from the state. He comes with a lot of experience dealing with corrections and So it's been, we've known each other, and it's a great point of communication now. He's in the city, so we're been reaching about just the heightened increase of some activity, and we want to be, I mean, I have great neighbors, they want to be part of the solution on how what we can do to work with Salt Lake Police Department in terms of response time. How do we maybe provide better information for them to be proactively working with us? So this is the opportunity to discuss this. We have, they were very gracious, like I said, to give us 20 minutes of their agenda. So I want to get into them, maybe hearing from our residents and our neighbors about those problems. I do want to just invite everyone, we will have a longer time frame to discuss this the 10th, which is next Tuesday, September the 10th, and Representative Collins as representative of this area as well. I would say it's a little bit more personal to me because my family and we live there. So we've been seeing this, and this is our next door neighbors that have been directly impacted. And it's a little bit different when it's next door to where you live, that you're seeing, shots being fired at 7 p.m. on a Sunday evening. Like you're hearing them, you're like, what's happening? So it's just a concern there. So if that's okay, I do have some neighbors, and if it's okay, we hear from them, and then the chief, I think, will want to respond. And like I said, we do have that September 10th meeting, same location, and that will be only to address public safety in our community. But again, there's not a West Point Community Council. So again, Rose Park has been very gracious to open their doors for us. So I have some of our neighbors. Do you guys want to share some of anyone with concerns? Yes. And I have them in the back there. Pretty good at
Say anything. I was just curious, we had a shooting in front of my house, but we never heard anything like maybe caught, no updates. There was 15 shots fired. The shells were all right in front of my husband's car. Had a guy try to bust into the house across the street. They chased him down. He actually got caught, but he said he was catfished. So they let him go, but it was the husband and the wife dog not to enter the home. There was nothing, we were just kind of, what's the updates, or how can we?
Anything, any of the other neighbors?
Well, yeah, first of all, thank you I guess what I would first say is thank you, Senator Escamilla, Council Member Petro, for having me here. I've been here before with many of you. I recognize many of you. I just want you to all know we are committed to the West Side, and I hope you're feeling that. We have an operation going on right now, an extended operation, added more police resources over here. When I got here, now it's been about 6 months ago, what we were seeing overall back in elementary wasn't acceptable. They were doing some work on the trail anyway, so we closed it. It wasn't acceptable what kids were seeing walking to school. And so that's always going to be my guiding principle as a police chief, is that, if our kids aren't safe, then we need to we have work to do. So I can promise you that our Salt Lake City officers are working very hard over here on the West Side, trying to reduce the crime. I do want to give a shout out to our fire department and our brothers and sisters at the fire department for all the support that you offer us. I was driving down North Temple, and there was a dumpster on fire the other day, and I didn't know what to do. I got to, I don't know how to handle a dumpster fire, but the fire came out. But I want to appreciate the partnership. To your specific cases, one of the things that I want to also first maybe introduce my new deputy chiefs. So they've been on just less than 2 months, all of them. So if you guys want to stand up, maybe come up front so I can introduce. So these are the leaders of the department with me that are looking at all of these things with. All of these things, from how we respond to calls, our call response times, where we put our resources across the whole city. And also one of the things that is coming out of these concerns that were just shared are how we communicate back to community members when we have come and addressed issues, and making sure that people are getting the information they need so they can feel as safe as possible. And by the way, whether someone's trying to get into your house and trespassing or stealing your bike or shooting shots, none of it's acceptable. And we have to kind of change the paradigm, I think, to a degree in society and in the criminal justice system that, you know, trespassing is a crime. It makes people not feel safe. It's not acceptable, and we have to find solutions to that. Some of those will be criminal justice solutions. Some of them will be social services solutions, and probably a combination of both. But just know we are working hard to make sure you feel safe. And I just want you to know that as your police chief, that trespassing, drug use in your parks, those what we call quality of life or lower level crimes, they're not lower level crimes. People don't feel safe. It creates concern, and we're going to continue to maybe make that adjustment in our heads, in society a little bit, but these things are not okay. So this is Deputy Chief Bill Manzanares. I'm just going to let them quickly introduce themselves, just really quickly, and then I want to talk a little bit more about those incidents.
Thanks, Chief. Like you said, my name is Bill Manzanares. I've been with the police department here for 18 years. I was a lot of those years on the special operations, the SWAT side of things. I've had a lot of different leadership roles within the department. I was previously a commander over the downtown central. I'm Brandon Christiansen. Was a deputy chief of West Valley City Police Department. Was there for 18 years. Before Chief Fred talked to me to come over, so I'm excited to work with everybody. It's been a great month and a half, so looking forward to it.
My name is Alex Garcia, 22 years in law enforcement. A lot of it with the state, to include the Highway Patrol, Department of Public Safety, and then as most recently as the Chief of Adult Probation and Parole. Met Ryan, Chief Red, years ago, early on in my career at State Bureau of Investigations, and he's afforded me this wonderful opportunity to be as part of Salt Lake City. Happy to be here.
And of course, yeah, let's give him a hand.
Many of you know probably Detective Oliver, but I want him to introduce himself if you don't know him, but he is your liaison on the west side here. And I just wanted to publicly say thank you for all that you do in connecting with the community. Like, this is where the rubber hits the road, and he does an amazing job and cares about this community. And I just want to go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm sure everybody knows you, or most of you.
Detective Oliver, and if you don't have my cell phone number, I'm gonna give it to you right now. It's 385-549-9262. Concerns that you have, please let me know and we'll track them down.
Do you mind repeating?
Absolutely, 385
385
549 9262.
62.
So one of the things, so Senator Escamilla called me a few weeks ago and said, hey, we had an incident where there was a trespasser, it was a couple incidents in the neighborhood that's in question. One of them was a trespasser who came and got catfished, and, you know, we can only, we have to follow the rules of the Constitution and the law. And if we don't feel like we have enough to make an arrest because of something that they said, then we can't make that arrest. Let me finish real quick. And then on the second one, there was a situation where someone tried to get into a residence and then couldn't get in, went to the next residence and got in. And then the police came and arrested the individual and took them away to jail, but never went back to the first residence to say, hey, someone attempted to get in your home. We got them, they're in jail. You don't have to, we've taken care of the situation. So what we learned from that situation, and then also from the recent shooting, is that we need to probably do a better job getting back to the community when you call in complaints. And there is a way when you take a call or when you call in, I think the dispatch should be asking you if you want a follow-up call. And so you would need to say yes to that, and then the officers will call you back. If you don't say yes to that, I'm still asking our officers, and it's going to take some time and training, but to follow back up with the complainant. In the case of the shooting, where it was near your house, I can totally understand how I would feel if there was a shooting there and I never heard anything. So we're going to have to figure that out, because maybe you weren't the target of that shooting, but it was in front of your house. So who do we knock on and notify? Like, do we go up and down the street telling everybody everything's fine? So there's a little complexity is all I'm saying. But to be fair, we probably should have got information back into the neighborhood. And I think that's why I wanted to introduce Detective Oliver and provide his number. He's someone that you could call and say, hey, there was a situation in my neighborhood. We don't know if we're safe. We don't we don't know what happened. Can we get some information? And obviously, we can't always share all of the information, but we will share what we can, and at least you have a point of contact now. You can also, reach out to me, and I can provide my phone number as well. And it's, if you want it, it's 435-669-7926. 435-669-7926. So, but Detective Oliver is going to be able to get you the information likely more quickly than me. And that's his job, is to stay connected to the community. So that, I mean, I think the long and short of it is, we are looking at our internal processes on notification. We encourage you, if you call in, or if you have a question, you need to call us. And don't wait for, if you're not feeling safe, call us.
I guess the question that I'm getting for us, so my house is 2 houses away from the good neighbors here. What's the most effective way to get your attention? And you're very responsive. Oh yeah, I know how to get a hold. But I mean, it's as a resident, what is the adequate? Is it the detective that is assigned to our community to say, I don't feel safe? Because this is what I was hearing from the residents. I mean, they were waiting for me in my garage door. That actually has never happened in my 17
Yeah.
years of service.
I don't blame them.
And it's not on state issues. This is certainly a public safety Salt Lake City issue. I want to be responsive and say, man, if you don't feel safe, I'm your next door neighbor. Like, certainly there's an issue. And we've seen, like I said, it was like a 3-week, timeline where there's 3 things happen in Morton Drive. So is it to raise through communication with the detective? Is it an email to you? Like, they were just a little bit lost on communication. What's to you the best way to raise it to where maybe it's not a state senator that's calling you and bugging you, right? I mean, what's the adequate way so you feel like, man, there's a gap here in Morton Drive in West Point area? What do you recommend?
So there's an email called Ask the Chief
Oh,
on our website. You can send it to Ask the Chief. My executive officer, Lieutenant Jared Gilbert, monitors that, and so that's one way. I don't know, Detective Oliver, you work in the area. I don't know if you have any suggestions. If you want to come up, you can always contact Detective Oliver. Commander Andrew Clough is the commander of this area. You have a community council here. You can contact the leadership of the community council, who can reach out to us. I mean, I wish that I could say there's just like one quick way to do it, and I think we can work on and develop something that might work for this area. But those are different ways that you can connect with this. Yes, ma'am.
Does this area do neighborhood watch anymore?
No.
I don't believe
We
so.
used to do that for many, many years. So you knew your neighbors, all the officials, officers and police officers came out to vote with, they knew there was a presence. I live in Murray, but I've done this for a long time, but we did a neighborhood watch. And I think it's around September, it's before it gets very late in the year. We used to do that for years.
Yeah, I mean,
Just so they knew,
yeah, I mean, we are open as a police department to figuring out how to partner with you as a community. One of the important things, we're putting a lot of law enforcement resources in over here right now. We really are. And as we improve areas, it's really important that the community takes those areas and uses them, and not everything's perfect. We have Cottonwood Park. We have a group that's very entrenched under the pavilion at Cottonwood Park right now. We're working on that. It's not acceptable to me, especially when they're doing drugs. And we don't always catch them doing drugs, but when we do, we hold them accountable. But it's not perfect, but we need you to call. And when we do get an area improved, we need the community to use it. Otherwise, I grew up on a farm. You plow a field, great, there's no weeds, but if you don't plant something there, weeds are coming back. Yes. Cousin, how you doing?
Hi, cousin. Okay, we're related, everyone.
Cousin,
Not
okay.
nothing to do with this, but I'm from Roseport Baseball. Thank you again. I just wanted to say that I have felt the difference at Riverside, and we really appreciate the efforts that you've made. I'll literally cry because, and I'm telling you, we are using every square inch of that park. I mean, every inch of that park is being utilized. And honestly, we would have had to just close up shop if it wasn't for the differences that you've made. Just even this past week, we've seen some stuff kind of creeping back in, just some concerning activity. So please keep up the good work. But we're trying our part at Riverside. So thank you.
Thank you. I paid her to say that.
I heard about that.
Representative.
thank you for what you're doing on North Temple. I must say that I have noticed a difference every night when I come home. I've noticed over at that Pizza Hut, there's cops over in the area, and they're addressing the concerns. You know, at one time, I had a friend wrote in from the airport, and I was to meet her at that Pizza Hut and bring her in. And I was so scared, I went back home and got my husband, and he walked up from the train to our car. But I want to talk about, as you all are doing work on North Temple, you know, the population is not disappearing. You know, they're going to other areas. And, you know, I even had an incident at my home when I came home one evening. A guy was sitting on my porch and he had been using drugs and he refused to allow me to go in my house.
Not acceptable.
Yeah, not
Frustrating.
acceptable. And I was really concerned when he started walking down the street and went to some of my elderly neighbors' home. And that's when I started yelling at the police on the phone, you need to get here because I'm scared she's gonna open that door and he's gonna walk in. Luckily, you all caught him that night because later that evening, he walked into another neighbor's home, sat down and had a beer and started watching TV. So they were able to catch him. But I'm just asking, what is the plan as people are dispersing into neighborhoods now? What do you all?
Well, we need you to call in if you're seeing those things, which I think many of you do and we appreciate. And we need to, again, look at our call response times. We need to make sure that we're responding as quickly as we can. I mean, we have to follow the problem, but this goes back to just that you were in a meeting recently, like this goes back to that we need places for people to go. And sometimes that's jail. And sometimes that is a shelter bed, and sometimes that is a behavioral health bed, or a combination of all of those. And like our officers are working hard, I promise you. The statistics are bearing it out. Their call volumes are high. Call volumes are increasing every year, and they're working hard. More proactivity is up, way up this year. They're working hard, but we need the back end of the criminal justice social services system to help us, or we're going to burn our officers out. Our officers won't quit, by the way. That's not who they are, but we need help on the backside. And so advocating for more behavioral health services, more capacity in shelter beds. And look, I know that now there's an announcement that maybe you don't want them in your neighborhood, and I understand that. But we need places to put people, and then we need more accountability in the system. We can't have a society where we accept that drug use on our streets is okay, that they have that because they have an addiction, that we just have to let them do this. It's just not acceptable. It's not acceptable that you go to your home and someone's sitting up drinking a beer in your house. Like, that's not okay. I don't find that humorous at all, by the way. And so we have to get these people off the street, and we need help. Yes, ma'am.
So first of all, thank you so much. It's been such a dramatic improvement since you have taken on your position. Just quickly, I think the biggest change we've seen in Cotton Park, which was just an absolute nightmare. I believe that, and I may be wrong, but a law was recently passed that Oxbow can't just turn people through and right back into the communities.
That's right.
So now there's a law. When you have 20 warrants, you're not coming back into our community. We had 60 to 80 people descending every night at dusk under this big tree by the dog park, just having a wide open festival of drugs and just mayhem every single night. They are not coming back. It's been at least 6 weeks. We fully anticipated them coming back. My guess is it's the 248 beds at Oxbow and Metro County Jail that have been open because of that new law, and that's where they are right now. And that's, to me, a little frustrating because several years ago, Rosie Rivera had come to our community council meeting saying that she had to legally keep 200 beds available. And we've been sitting on 200 beds that could have been utilized, and I don't understand how a jail that's between 25 and 35 years old that cost us $637 million 35 years ago, 19 million a year, and every year we are being asked to contribute to fix it. I don't understand how it could have been built so poorly that we can't use it without dumping more and more money into it. I know this isn't your problem, but this is a problem. And we had a wing available with 200 beds, and we have not been able to use it until recently, until that English bed just got passed. And it has made a tremendous difference. My guess is these people that have all these warrants are sitting and awaiting their court date, because when they, prior to holding them in jail, they would not go to their court date. And the DA told us in 2021, when these people don't show up for court, he takes the file and throws it in the garbage can. And you and I had that conversation before too, and you agreed with me, this is a constitutional issue. If all of these troublemakers are getting away with all of the crimes that they're committing over and over again, because all they have to do is simply not show up to their court date, we are not treated equally under the law, okay? Because if I had 20 warrants, okay, I would lose my house, my job, I'd be handcuffed and humiliated. I'd be fined, I'd lose everything. And these people have been continually allowed to victimize people in my community, and then to top it off by having their files thrown in the garbage can, the kayak port goes down the river and expunges all the warrants, which is just unbelievable to me. It feels like this has just been an enablement of horrible people that don't want help, that have been offered all these services for years and do not want to get clean, don't want to stop their life of crime, and whatever policies are on the book that just say, well, that's okay, well, we'll let you do whatever you want, continue doing it, and forget about everybody else that pays the taxes and the higher, everything for all these services. And it just has felt like, while the city mayor is building trust with these vulnerable people, she forgets that she has completely broken public trust with us. And
Well,
it feels very unfair.
I can tell you the mayor has been very supportive of me doing whatever I need to do, we need to do to increase public safety. And to your point, I hear all of that. And what I would say is we have to be careful not to simplify this problem to, you gotta, it's just accountability or it's just services, right? Like it's just behavioral health. And I'll get to you. I know you've been patient. The problem is it's all of it. And so it's accountability, but we can't just put them in jail and hold them in jail because if they're not getting treated, because what is going to happen when we release them? Nothing was resolved and they're going to be doing it again. Now, we can't build enough jails just to hold people and not treat them. So, and it's not, I mean, there's a lot of factors. So all I want to do is I just want to caution everybody that this is a really, really complex issue that really no one's solved in the country yet. I think Utah, we're going to solve it. We're going to make this better for everybody. We're going to hold people accountable, and we're going to bring the services and treatment to them. And we got to get good at that. But you're right. We also have to make sure people understand there is accountability for your actions, and we're not going to allow you to victimize communities, park in our parks, and do drugs and make it so kids can't go to the parks. And so it's all true. And we're going to keep pressing. There's a lot of people that want this solved. And we all want the same thing at the end of the day. We want safe communities. We want help for these people who have a lot of problems. And it's just a matter of coming together so that we can get that done. And we can't point fingers. We can't say it's just this or it's just that. We've got to work together as a community and a state. And when we do get an area cleaned, we appreciate you bringing the ball players in and taking over the park. Thank you. All right, you've been waiting very patiently. I'm sorry.
In the interest of keeping communication lines open, and I appreciate you acknowledging that this is a very complex issue. I just wanted to, there's people here that we're talking about that aren't here. And so, around 21% of unhoused people are expected to have been victims of violence, as opposed to 2% of the general population. And I have friends that are homeless, and they're scared of my neighbors here, and they're scared of police, and they're seeking the most help. And luckily, some things have had resources for others. And so, specifically for you, because you can't solve every problem in the world right at a time. What can I tell them they're worried about their safety?
Well, we did an interesting study. We looked at transit-related crime, drug crime, and violent crime here in Salt Lake City. Our data for 5 years, and there is an overlap on all three of those things. The interesting thing that you point out is that many of those individuals who are involved in drugs and transit-related crime are perpetrators, trespassers, but they're also victims. They're also victims. And so I think I appreciate you bringing that, because those are somebody's family members. And we can't lose the humanity in all of this, right? Yeah. Sorry, I apologize. That's not the point I was trying to make. I don't feel that about them. Okay. So I don't want you to take that and spin it that I think they're weeds. The point is, the problems will grow if we don't come in and take the community and we help these people, so. But. Well, we need to, we need them to follow the rules. You can tell them that, number one, okay?
My friends are following.
Okay, so,
And they're still. One of them got pulled out of a wheelchair by the police officer.
okay, well, I'd love to, after this, I'd love to review that action situation. So if you can talk to the deputy chiefs, we'll review that situation, okay? Because we hear things like that, and if that's happening, we'll correct it, but, you know, we need specifics. And it sounds very specific, so we'll definitely review that case. That's not acceptable, likely. But what you can tell them is they need to follow the rules, number one. Number two, we want to help them. And one of the problems is you have people that you're talking about that really need help and they're down and out. We need to help them, but the problem is what happens when they're on the street is everybody, the predators come in on top of them and everything gets mixed in, right? They get victimized, they get lumped in as one of the problems. And again, this isn't a simplification, right? You can't simplify this problem. You have people like you that you're talking about, and you have people that are on the other spectrum that are predators, bullying and victimizing. So don't misconstrue what I'm saying about the people that are not following the rules. Need to follow the rules, okay? And then we'll help those people, and that will help the people that truly need the help. But for people that truly need help that are homeless, let's make sure we help them. Let's get, you know, they can come and talk to us about that too. You know, I spent 4 years down here by the road home, and it's pretty easy to tell who truly needs services and who's the predator. All right. Okay. Yes.
Behind you.
Yes, sir.
So, working separate views from mental health myself, working in Casper Valley neighborhood, I've been here like almost 9 months now.
Yep.
And I agree with what you're saying, that putting them in jail is not.
Yeah.
We don't want another war on drugs back in the 80s.
Yeah.
But we need more awareness about substance use and mental health.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stigma going on. Even my clients say this, because of the stigma, well, they don't really have that chance in society. Their friends move forward and restart.
You know, I was on North Temple a couple weeks ago, and there was a woman, a couple women, and I told this story, but I'll tell it again. Another woman on the train got off with 2 kids. It was her kids. She was down in North Temple. She was obviously looking for drugs. We said, she had medical issues on her legs, you could see, and they invited her to go to the hospital with them, and she wouldn't go. And the kids got back on the train and they left. But you can see it in the eyes of these people that they don't believe in themselves. A lot of them, they've tried treatment, it hasn't worked. The system hasn't worked for them. So they give up, and it's easier to do drugs, right? You go tell them, get a job, you know, oh, well, you got to get a job, you got to have a driver's license. Well, you go to get a driver's license. Well, you got to have a social security card. Well, I lost my social security card, so then I got to go to the Social Security Administration. In the meantime, they get picked up for a charge. We put them in jail. The jail kicks them out. They get pink sheeted to the hospital, and hospital kicks them out, and they get like a pinball and a pinball machine. So I appreciate you bringing it up. I think if we could get people voluntarily to come off the streets and get the help they need, but we should do that. And we have to help them believe in themselves, and we have to believe in something.
And I agree with that, because I've seen people that have actually turned their life around.
Yeah, it happens. We have to start by believing in them as well.
Sometimes treatment can't help, but it also depends on them. You have to have that belief.
Yeah, and they have to feel that from people. Yeah.
And I personally, I used to live in Rose Park back in, and well, I was homeless at one point because I kind of went through that, but I pretty much had to rebuild my life.
Well, and you've been through it, so you can speak to those things, and you can connect better than some of us that maybe haven't been homeless before.
But I think possible recovery.
Yeah, 100%. Look, I worked in the Department of Corrections. I believe people can rebuild their lives too. But it does start with some accountability.
Yeah.
You gotta be accountable to yourself and to society.
Jason.
Yeah, Jason.
So, back to the topic of, kind of breakdown in communication, which I think.
Yeah, or yes.
I brought up, several times over the last few years, but, specifically a couple of months ago, how there's a disconnect between the use of the Salt Lake City app and information gained to police. A lot of people in the public think they report something through the app, it goes to you. It does not. It does not generate a case number. It does not report a crime. So there was talk at that committee partners meeting a couple of months ago about figuring out how to close that loophole, get that information so it's going to the right place. Is there any update on that? Have we figured out how to make it, if they report something through the app, it goes to the police department?
Senator Johnson here.
You just walked out.
Just walked out. The mayor's office is looking at that and trying to figure out how to get a link for the police on the My Salt Lake City app. It hasn't happened, but we're looking at it. I need to get an update. I mentioned this to Andrew just actually today, that we need to keep working on that. So no, but my ultimate, what I would like to do is to have a police button on the My SLC app, since you all go to that, many of you, for resources. It's just there. You don't have to go to a separate website. And then you could push things through there. So we're working on it.
And let's acknowledge that Representative Angela Romero has shown up.
Hi. Fellow West Sider, but on the other side of town, so.
Look, I just want you to know we're all in on the west side, and we're all in to make the city safe and to help individuals who are struggling as well. You can do both.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. Yes. Thank you again, everyone, for participating. Thank you, Councilwoman Petro. She's taking a phone call, I'm sure, on the shelter issue. And again, Representative Hollins and Representative Romero, I think we all are here to speak up on issues that matter. Communication with our public safety is a basic expectation of our government, and we feel very committed to make sure this is happening. And we need to talk about funding and adequate services. But knowing that there is this open communication, thank you, Rose Park Community Council. There will be another meeting on the same topic next week. We wanted to provide opportunities. People are busy. And most of our community, as you guys know, have 2 to 3 jobs just to make it, right? So this is also something that I want to raise as an awareness of all elected officials and, employees of the city government, state government. This district is a great district. I love living here, but it's, the struggles are different. And that's why when the burden is so heavy on the west side, it's important that we all speak up. So thank you for being here, for having your voice be heard. And thank you, Rose Park, for letting us be here today. Thank you.
So Councilwoman Petro is finishing a phone call. We'll just do a couple of announcements while she's doing that. This coming Saturday, we're having our crop swap at Steamboat Park. So bring your fruits, your veggies, everything you've harvested. If you don't have a garden, come anyway. There'll be some giveaways. Bring arts and craft supplies. Thank you. So please come to that. We would love to see you, and I'll turn this over to.
And I have flyers if anybody wants to take one.
Okay, this doesn't happen very often, but I'm like getting to the end of my words for a day. So I'm gonna make this quick, and then I'm also going to apologize to you because my kid is playing baseball on the field right there.
Do not apologize.
And even though the queen of baseball is here, I'm gonna go and try to catch at least one inning. Okay, clearly this has been the biggest thing. I am so thankful for the representatives, and we have Representative Romero, the minority leader in the House, here with us as well. Thank you for being here. This is going to be, I think you all have heard me say since I've been elected that this has to be the priority issue, and I've told you that activating at every level of government, us, county, and state, is the key. So I'm going to stay in that position. In terms of the city, we're actually a little bit boring right now. We are doing a lot of rezoning requests, catching up on all the things that we had to delay or move around or not give as much attention to because of all the things that were imposed on us last year. If you have concerns, I'm always happy to meet with you. I'm always happy to talk with you. We staved off a property tax increase this year, but I'm telling you all, these authorities are siphoning off money at a record rate. The good senator and I have talked about even her proposing a study that will allow us to see what this actually does financially. So this isn't just me complaining to you repeatedly about a tool that other people make work, but this is a problem. So I am pushing for deep, deep, deep efficiencies at the city. If there are things that you are concerned about, I would really appreciate your feedback. One of the things I love about having Chief Red is I can be sure that when he asks me for something, he has analyzed it top to bottom, front to back, and he has made sure that the ROI on it is necessary. I'm wanting every department to get to that place, and I don't feel like I'm there yet. I do not want another property tax increase. I will be displacing myself along with all of my friends who live on fixed incomes and everyone else who's, struggling to keep up. So keep in touch with me about those things if you're concerned. Outside of that, always happy to meet with you, chat with you. Miss Margaret has been doing an amazing job keeping everyone informed about trees. So the West Side tree situation should be improving. I think I'm gonna make her the tree deputy for the area. So if you have a concern, go through her. It's gonna be the most efficient way. Is there anything else anyone's noticing in particular that I can respond to? Yes, sir.
A lot of road construction on Morton Drive through West Point.
Yes, sir.
1700 more. They came in and did about 75% of it. We haven't seen them in about 2 weeks. They've
I will
just
check
got-
on the status of that. Thank you.
I know they've been doing it all the way down to West Point Park, but it should be nice to take them.
Like, I just finish any street at this point. Pick one, anyone. Hey, Kate, how are you? Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
My friends don't always get a text back because you're a busy lady. What do you recommend that they do if they message and not actually establish any meaningful conversation?
Kai, will you raise your hand? This is Kai. We have Kai working in our district. He is the most amazing human. He is one of the only reasons I look like a functional human being. If you reach out to him, he will put, even if it's a 30-minute phone call with me, he will put it on a calendar. You're right, I did recently take on a new job. The new administration caused me deep financial losses and I had to pivot. And so while doing this with them, I have been undertaking a new job. Kai is the way, make sure you get his email. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Question for you. Anybody else's water bill gone up $140 last month?
140? Y'all guys have some really green lawns. Kai, will you? Is it the sewage fee? Mine didn't go up that much.
How they do their walks without any public input or council input?
There actually is. There is a rate setting committee and we have a neighbor on it. I can't remember his name at the moment. We nominated him, we appointed him 2 years ago. And he actually, I think our spot on this is actually coming up. So we're reappointing. That's the one that I'm reappointing, correct? So there actually is a rate advisory committee. We have done a rate study. And the sad truth is that we in the West have heavily subsidized water usage and sewer usage historically, and as droughts and stress on the water system increases, it is tending to trickle down to us. We have the KOA got a $25,000 water bill this month. And it was all because of the sewage, not because of water usage. So this is something that we're looking into. I'm happy to put residential on. I have not heard from residences that it's a problem, but we will add residential too.
My bill went from $90 to $69 to $190. My neighbor's bill went to $300. If you go past my yard, it's brown because I want to conserve water.
Yeah. I tell people I want to conserve water too.
$60 to $190 is a big problem.
Yeah, okay. I thank you. We'll add residential. So we're engaged with them.
They lowered the commercial rate. Because my company is $100 less.
See, we're hearing exactly the opposite. KOA is like through the roof. Is our commercial?
This is water only. This is not sewer. This is water only.
Okay.
So kind of to add into that, when we don't use the water, they slap on a usage fee. Now, where did that come from? I sat on the PUAC for a few years. That's part of the reason I left.
PUAC being the committee that I just told you.
Public Utilities Advisory Committee. Sit on there because I didn't agree with. They don't receive any property tax funds, so they have to sell water to be able to pay their expenses.
They're an enterprise fund, meaning they earn their own money, so they don't get money from the general.
So they put out a budget, so you started conserving water, they didn't make their income budget.
So they said, oh, then we're just gonna have to tack on next year a flat fee to make up the money you didn't spend. I think our neighbors that are, you know, the little old ladies.
No, I'm with you. This.
Big income.
Holy cow, I'm eating caps the next month. Water flowers. That's just a concern I wanted to.
No, thank you. We'll add residential. We're actively engaged with public utilities.
Structure upgrade.
It's bond, we use bond revenue for that. We have bond against, or, yeah.
I recall a case somewhere when they read it.
So we can talk later. but-
Thank you. Happy to.
There's anticipated 15% rate increase.
All right, I'm gonna go support the M1 sports imaging team. Go down at the-
Okay, I'm gonna take just a quick moment of personal privilege before we invite our guest up. Back in May, our county council member, Arlen Bradshaw, resigned to go work at the Salt Lake County Mayor's office. And they had a big election, and I thought, hey, I'm gonna throw my hat in. And it was me and 16 other people. I was not successful, but I feel good. I had lots of friends in this room who were supportive of me and
Through 7 rounds.
helpful. And what I took away from that was I met some incredible people. We have a bench of leaders in this city that is incredible. One of those people was Gio Johnson, our new county councilman. I came home, I think it was right around the festival time. I came home and he had already been on my doorstep.
Yeah.
He was way ahead of me in campaigning, so. But the night of the election, I walked over to him and I said, okay, we gotta get you to a Rose Park Community Council meeting. He readily agreed and he is here tonight to introduce himself and take questions, so, Gio. Yeah.
Hi, everybody. I use the mic. It looks like we have some online people, so I'll use the mic. Hi, everybody. I'm Gito Johnson. I'm your newly minted county council member for District 1. I'm just going to give you a brief history since you don't know me. I've been on the job for only 2 months. So I was raised here. I went to Northwest Middle School when it was still in Rose Park. I then went to West High School and then the University of Utah, went to law school in George Washington University over in Washington, D.C. I'm a public defender. I represent the individuals who caused the community trouble that you have been all very angry about. That is the basis of the new building that was announced today. And I represent those individuals nonstop. I've been doing that for the past decade. Before that, I worked at a prestigious law firm and I quit that job and took a huge pay cut so that I could represent those who don't have legal services in the corner. So. And that leads into why I ran to be in county council, which is I am a public defender and I fully intend to protect your rights as part of that. And I understand all the interconnecting systems that Chief Red was just talking to you about, that you've heard, I'm sure, at 5 o'clock from Wayne Niederhauser and his crew about why they need a 1,300 bed facility for all of that. But there's a whole blanket, and Chief Red did a wonderful job of explaining this. There's a difference between public safety, but then also there's, services and mental health services and things like that. And my job is the intersection of all of that. And so I interface a lot with the district attorney's office, the jail, Chief Rivera and Gil, and all your other county officials. That's most of what the county deals with. And so with that, I want to give you an idea of what it is I'm going to be pushing for as we go into budget season. The mayor on October 15th, Mayor Wilson will drop her budget for the entire county. And after that, it'll come to me and the other 8 colleagues I have on the county council. I'm going to be pushing for increases in funding to services to help not only once Chief Red and his people arrest individuals who are causing problems in your community, who are making it impossible for you to enjoy the Jordan River Trail, or making it so that you can't enjoy Cottonwood Park because there are needles everywhere, there are drugs, and then they become my client. Making it so that they have a connection point when they're in the jail directly into treatment. And so that there's a person in my office who drives them to that treatment facility, make sure that they go into their treatment. There's someone at Criminal Justice Services make sure that if they get released, that they actually know where they're going to be and gets them to where they're supposed to be. If they have a mental health condition, substance use disorder, or anything of that sort. I'm going to be voting for those kinds of improvements so that those people, if they are amenable to treatment, they get that treatment and they get off the damn street. All right. That's the goal. That's where I'm going to be trying to put money, your tax dollars towards. And I want to focus on you because I'm sorry I didn't get your name, but you specifically were correctly upset about the frustration of many of my clients who just don't seem to be wanting to get treatment. I don't believe that that is necessarily most of my clients. I think a lot of them do want to get treatment and they do want to get help. But at the same time, when you see the same people cycling in and out, and they're making it so that you can't use the things that your tax dollars are going to. They can't use the public amenities that matter so much to a community, that make it so that this room is as full of people who care about Rose Park, about Glendale, Fair Park, all of that, that becomes frustrating and it feels hopeless. And I don't want that to be the case. And that we solve that problem by investing the resources to make sure that the individuals who are causing those problems, the ones who can get help, get that help. And then for the ones that can't and refuse, well, they're not being let out of jail. I can tell you that personally. I work with these individuals as clientele. They are not getting out of jail. There's not the revolving door that used to exist 6 months ago. They're not being released. We're getting reports from Chief Dumont, who's at the jail, Sheriff Rivera, that the average stay of individuals who are committing transient crimes, 60 to 90 days, sometimes upwards of 180 days. And while that's happening, people in my office, people in some Gill's office, we're trying to get them into treatment. And if not, then they're spending that entire time there. And then we try and figure out what we do once their jail time has been, it's done. So anyway, that's a very quick overview of what I'm doing in the 2 months that I've been there. I've been treating it like a full-time job, even though it's nominally part-time, because it matters that I hit the ground running. I don't have a lot of time to get to know all of you and to try and get into the issues and then do something useful before the budget gets passed. So I'm working weekends, nights, walking neighborhoods. I'll be walking with Representative Romero very soon in the coming weeks. I've been walking my district for District 1 in the county is basically all of Salt Lake City. A little bit of West Valley, a little bit of South Salt Lake, but most of Salt Lake City, except for the East Bench. And so that's Chris Wharton's district, Petra's district, Lopez Chavez's district, Mono's district. All of that is me. And I'm making an effort. I will get to you, I promise you. As soon as this very long intro is done, I'm working to meet all of you, trying to get to every community council here and let you know what I'm up to. So that's me. 2 months of service. I know there's a lot more for me to do and a lot more to learn. And so I want to hear from you. And that's where we go to. Please raise your hand because I want to answer as many questions as I can.
So a couple of things that I want to about this health situation and the building. Back a couple of years ago, we received a great deal of opioid settlement money. And according to recent reports, as of February 2025, Salt Lake City has only spent out of 25 million that was set aside for this year, the next couple of years, they've only spent 6%, so 94% is gone unused. So we're looking at $25 million going towards projects like helping build the housing for people with opioid dependency. Also to be able to do treatments, things like that. The county is holding on to that they have not released, that they have not funded. I want to know why it hasn't been released. And number two, that money is sitting in the county's bank account. $25 million brings a lot of interest. Is that interest going into the general fund or is it going back into home services?
I'm going to start in reverse order. I do not know what happens with the interest on the funds. I honestly do not know. And so I'm going to just do what everyone else has been doing. I'm going to give you my personal cell phone number, 703-599-2399. If you want to call, leave a voicemail, I will respond back. If you want to text me, I'll give you the number again, 703-599-2399. It's the phone number I got when I moved to DC to go to law school. I've kept it ever since. So unlike all the other 385-435-801, that one's a little different. And so let me know that you're a constituent, leave a message. I'll try and get you an answer. If you call me, I will try and figure out where that's going. I'll let my policy advisors know. And I will try and have an answer to that part. But the first part, why aren't we spending the damn money? I agree. And so does the head of Health and Human Services for the county, Kelly Collin. She's devising a plan right now to comprehensively spend that money for the services that I've just been talking about. Case managers, peer support, people to help with substance use disorders, mental health conditions, so that we have more bodies to help address this issue. So that when an individual ends up in the jail, or they become justice involved, or they're somewhere in the criminal legal system or pre-arrest, we have someone that person can go to try and get them out of the system and towards their treatment. And you're right, it is not acceptable that we got a huge multi-million-dollar settlement and we're just holding on to those funds. They're supposed to be used. And let me just also tell you this, prior councils decided that they were going to spend that money towards DEA agents. Not a good use of money. Federal government has plenty. They do not need our support from an opioid settlement to provide drug enforcement agents supervision of any part of Utah. So we are going to try and reverse that. My vote is going to be towards spending those funds for those kinds of projects. All right.
Housing, transportation, job placement, childcare for pregnant women. It can be used for recovery, housing, transportation, job placement, training, and childcare for adults with also. I strongly suggest that instead of putting in the building, if you want to alleviate problems, is to put a large portion of that money into those types of programs.
And I will tell you this, that the plan is not, Kelly Colopy has not, because the budget season isn't here and the mayor has not revealed her budget yet. But from what I understand at the moment, the plan is not to use those opioid dollars for capital investment. In other words, it's not for buildings. It's for human resources. It's for people and programming. All right, that's the plan. That's what I'm going to endorse. And if for any reason it's not that, then I'm going to modify that with my power on the county council. Okay, so at some other hands, I'm going to start here.
Okay. Hundreds of millions of dollars we're spending on about what, 3,000 or 4,000 people? They say about 3,000 or 4,000 homeless people. What about the rest of us? The mayor did a fantastic job by giving free membership for kids for the rec centers. That was the best thing the mayor could have done.
Absolutely.
Okay. I brought this up during the election time too. And I said, there's a heck of a lot of us out there that are paying for these 3,000 to 4,000 people. And I'm not saying they don't need help, but we are spending a ton of money for a small portion of this population. Okay. And a lot of us don't have that tax money to keep spending it towards there. So what, I know I brought this up to you.
Yes, you did. I remember.
Don't forget, I mean, if we could do something like what the mayor did, they can help reduce maybe the bus fare for in the county or something like that, for people that would help, you know, be equal all the way around.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell you, I'm looking into getting rid of, so this is not something for Salt Lake City specifically, because it has its own unique library system aside from the Salt Lake County library system, but just getting rid of library fees entirely for the Salt Lake County libraries. I'm sorry. Yeah. Salt Lake County library system. That's one thing I'm trying to look into and see if we can fund that this year. Also, they're late fees. But I also trying to see if we can afford an adult who accompanies a minor to the rec, so that is included, at least one adult as part of it.
Free for seniors.
So
The seniors.
free for seniors, I like that idea. I will actually see what that costs and see if that's something that we can do. And figuring out what that would cost for the county widely, those are the kinds of things that matter. It's the stuff, the amenities like I was talking about that you want to use that make this community worth living in. And so you're right, it's not just about the individuals who are committing crimes and we have to deal with them with their substance use disorders and mental health conditions. But at the same time, I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that when one of my clients is high on meth and has schizophrenia or has bipolar disorder or schizoaffective disorder, and they break one of your windows, that's a huge trauma that occurs, not just to you, but everyone else in your community, because that's a lack of safety. That's, I'm no longer safe in my home. That's, when is this going to happen again? That's, I'm not afraid to walk outside my home. That's not okay. Well, but the treatment part of that and trying to make sure that those people don't stay on the streets and they have a way and a place to go, or when someone has those kinds of debilitating mental health conditions where they're only going to be able to live in permanent supportive housing, that is our job. And if that means that we can provide them those services so that they are not causing those harms to the community. I think that's also beneficial. I know that's not everything. I want to I understand that. And I'm going to be doing everything I can to not just solve that problem with our unhoused population, but also make it so that you can enjoy the county that you live in and enjoy this great city. So I fully understand that.
So, my question to you would be, what is your opinion? What do you think about that 1,300 bed facility for the homeless, services to be built there? What's your opinion on that? Do you think it's a good area?
It's very far away from literally all the other services that exist in the city. I'll just be honest about that. And I don't believe it has the right infrastructure, talking with Steve over here. But the reality is, and Chief Red is right about this, is that we need a place. So many times where individuals fall through the cracks is, I get them into Odyssey House, Road Home, First Step House, Haven, Valley Behavioral Health. These are all treatment facilities that handle both mental health and substance use disorders. And I get them into treatment and it's great. They're in like residential treatment and then it ends. And then there's nowhere for them to go. And they don't have the living skills necessary to rebuild their lives. They don't have community. They don't have any of that. And they don't have money. And so it falls apart. And then they're my client again. Having a place for them to be where they can transition into housing and relearn the skills of how to take care of yourself. I'm not trying to infantilize these individuals. Like, there's a whole host of things that involve this population, and there's no one silver bullet here, but it's a cluster of problems that make it very difficult to address. But if they don't have a place to stay that's safe, the problem gets worse.
That unit, safe. I mean, if we don't put the money in the infrastructure and you have no, I know you're just.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's totally fair. That's totally, I mean, and having the site's the very first part, and who knows where that goes, but also how that site is administered. If it's treated like a jail, that's not going to be what you want.
Is out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, and that's not how this should be dealt with. I think that's wrong. But if that means the county has to put up the money to make sure the transportation for these people to get the job training that they need to go, theoretically, the idea is that they would get the treatment, the mental health condition treatment as well, all in that one building. That's the goal. That's the hope. Now, whether that really happens, and I see in all of your eyes, like, well, I've been told a whole lot of shit. I'm just gonna be very frank. I've been told a whole lot of shit and I live on the west side and none of it materializes. Fair. That's totally fair. And if that happens on my watch, you know that I'm going to be a voice that says that's not acceptable. Now, there are 8 other people in the county who also have a vote, but my vote is going to be for wherever that facility is, whatever happens, that we fully utilize it for the purpose of treating these problems like the medical problems that they are, and providing the best option we know of to help keep homelessness down, while also treating these conditions and getting people out of the legal system. So that's the hope. I get it though. I'm sorry, she's had her hand up and.
I have about how the DA's office and sheriff and jail.
Mhm.
Also, I really
Yeah.
would like to know how come we had to hold 200 beds empty and not available by law, is what we were told. And then also, can we look into why and how we were spending $637 million constructing a building that couldn't make it 35 years, and why we continually are dumping money into it? Because West High School is far older than that. And we've had children going to school there forever, and they're hard on things too. And so I feel like more could have been done on the county level, be accountable to us and our communities. And for 8 years, we've been suffering in ways that I can't even begin to describe, that has completely changed my community.
Yeah.
And really, when you can't recreate in your own community, it shaves years off of your life, right? And you can't just go for a walk or a jog or ride your bike. And not to mention the fact that if crimes committed against you, we're talking about people that are drug addicted and homeless as victims of their addiction or, predators. But on the other side of it, we have people who are living in this community who have been victims of crimes, victims of property crimes, vandalism. They've been terrorized, they've been harassed, right? Or to me, it's like, we're also victims in this. We are not without harm being done to us as well, and I'm really getting tired of feeling like we are conflating this, homelessness and drug addiction. And then you've got on the other side of it, there have been people that have been camping in my park, now they're without tents, but they're parolees, they're violent felons that have been staying in our parks, and they've been committing egregious crimes against people, that I can't put them in the same, under the same umbrella as people who have been offered services since forever, okay? Because again, there are all these services, but I don't understand how somebody who is committed murder and, the guy who blew up the Polynesian church on 9th West several years ago is setting up shop 100 feet behind my home and was allowed to stay there all summer long as we watched drugs and sex trafficking and everything else coming in and out of there. And I'm thinking, at what point are we gonna return to sanity here?
Yeah,
And we do need the county help, and we need accountability and transparency, and why aren't these people connecting and solving these problems when the DA has known for years that just tossing a file in the garbage can because he's 10,000 cases backlog, 25,000 cases backlog last year, that is not a solution.
So you're mad as hell and you have every right to be. No, it's okay. No, it's okay. It's fine. It's totally fair. You get to be mad because that would piss the hell out of me. I'd be pissed. That's fair. That's very fair. So, but let me also just say this. SimGill files 15,000 cases a year. For a county this size, that is more than double King County, which is 3 times our size. He filed more cases than Mecklenburg, Oakland in Michigan. He files more cases than Palm Springs, Florida. What I'm saying, so I'm going to say what that means is that he's not letting crimes just go away. And I experience that in my job because I have to then deal with those crimes as a public defender and the individuals who have those. So if you're worried that he's not filing the crimes and he's not taking that seriously, I can promise you he is. He is doing that. It's not my job to shill for SimGill either. That's not it. But just on a numbers level, all across the board, prosecution of crimes has gone up because Chief Red and his officers they're not letting things slide. All right. And so that means more case filings.
We got a hard stop at 8. They threw us out of the library.
Sorry.
We will have you back though.
All right. Can I answer the jail part as well? And here's the reason why is I don't, individuals who have mental health conditions, they are hard on buildings. They destroy sewage systems. They destroy automatic doors. People who are substance use disorders, they make buildings fall apart very quickly. And the fact that the jail's been running for 35 years is impressive, but we have a ton of deferred maintenance that prior councils did not address way earlier when this problem was not hundreds of millions of dollars of maintenance. Oxbow is, and you said we had a bunch of beds. There aren't a bunch of beds in Oxbow. They've onlined one small piece of it because that's the only piece that's operable because it's fallen into disrepair. Because we didn't spend the money earlier to fix it. And now it's my job to say, we've got to do something because we can't keep deferring maintenance and letting these buildings fall apart. And you have every right to be pissed because that means a bigger tax bill for you. The councils prior to me should have done a better job and been more responsible and being honest about solving that problem, and they weren't.
That's why the bond didn't.
And that's why the bond didn't pass. And you,
$500 million.
Yeah.
Who's checking to make sure that what we're paying?
me now.
Is what we're getting.
And I take it seriously. Yeah.
Stick my head against concrete steel and I'm not gonna deteriorate, right? So somebody needs to explain to us, what exactly are they doing? And if they're destroying sewer systems, what are we giving to them? Are they shoving their mattress into the toilet? Because maybe they shouldn't have things that they can destroy sewer systems. I mean, it doesn't seem like
It's,
that competition.
I have a hard out. So unfortunately, I'm going to give this back to, not to say that that's not a conversation we need to continue. And I promise you, I will be at future community councils. It's not the first and only time you're going to see me. All right. You are going to see a lot of me. So I just know that as well. I'm sorry. I have to give this back to Kevin. So. I'll just stay around.
Thanks,
Yeah, one of the benefits of having these meetings when it's not freezing cold, is we can still talk outside. Thank you, everyone, for coming. Thank you for your questions. I wish we could go longer. It's been a very eventful evening. I'm gonna turn the microphone over to our new chair to close us out.
So thank you for your confidence in me. I hope that I do you proud. You can always contact me at the info@roseparkcommunitycouncil.org. And we will be monitoring that together. And also, I just wanted to give a shout out to the board and say thank you again. So we've got Megan Lopez, Sherry Jardine, Catherine Torres, Kathy Westbrook, Rick Sorensen, sorry, new people, we're excited. So Rick Sorensen, Nick Meacham, Jason Wessel, of course, Kevin, and Brent Diamond, and Joe Killian, who is, so we're looking forward to working with you. We know that this is a very complicated issue. A lot of the issues that happen here are very complicated. But the thing that we also remember is that as Westsiders, we're not just talking about tax money. We are talking about our mindsets. We are talking about our own resources. They are being taxed, not just our incomes and stuff like that. And that's why we come to these meetings, is to make sure that our voices are heard and that our representatives understand what they need to take to their bigger groups and say, listen, and if we're feeling this, others are too. So it's not, but seriously, the west side of Salt Lake County and of Salt Lake City specifically have been taxed, overburdened, and it's not right. And so that's why we show up. So I look forward to having everybody come back. And Jason?
You want to explain why I'm still here?
Oh, yes, yes. Okay, so at our June meeting, we had a candidate, her name was Monica, and she withdrew the day of our barbecue. And so Jason, we didn't know this. Jason graciously stepped aside so that we could have new board members. And when we found out that she withdrew, we put Jason back on. So there we go. And words hard. So anyway, so that's why Jason is still with us, and he is one of our big representatives on the West Side Coalition. And Kevin will also be a big part of that too, until I can get figured out how to step in there. So anyway, remember the crop swap is this Saturday from 10 to noon. And it's over at the Steamboat Park, Capitol, as we all know it.
And next Wednesday, the meeting.
Next Wednesday is the other
6 p.m.
meeting,
here.
6 p.m. here. And then we will have our 600 North cleanup in the middle of October. And so we will finalize the date. It will be either the 11th or the 18th. And so we will make sure that everybody knows and they can prepare for that. So with that, I want to say thank you for Kevin. This has been great, and thank you everybody for coming. We really appreciate it. So thank you.
You're not really.
You